everybody, to this episode of Bravo Confessionals. We are here with the one and only Sarah McSweeney.
Hi.
She had several episodes on Real Housewives of New York, and her sister is Leah, who we love and adore, which I'm sure you do as well, because she has been such a refreshing sense to the Real Housewives of New York. I feel like she is the most real I have ever seen in a housewife.
Totally.
And is that how she truly is every day?
Every day. Yeah, all day. Every day, all day. Yeah. What actually, Leah is so natural. Like there's no acting or pretending with Leah, which is why I think people have seen like a lot of different sides to her, and her vulnerability and her anger and her caring, like all of like what a human being is.
Right.
You know? She doesn't just go into like on set or whatever, like shooting with ego or like trying to micromanage her image at all. She couldn't do it, I think, if she even wanted to. It's a McSweeney thing.
I was going to say, have you two always gotten along like this? Because you both have very strong personalities. So I could see that like growing up might be like this, but like you guys are like this now.
Yeah, like, well, my sister's 6 years older than me, so growing up when I was like a kid, you know, she was always my big sister. I like adored her, blah, blah, blah. When I became a teenager and started hanging with similar friends, when we both became like adults, we definitely had moments where we were like super like toxic with each other. But the thing is, it's like a ride or die thing. Like I can like beat my sister up or she'll beat me up. And I can talk shit about her, but like, if you try to talk shit about her, don't even, you know, it's like that kind of loyalty. And I think also becoming like me becoming a mom myself, our bond has become much closer, and there's way less like arguing and much more like us together. We're older too now.
So it's just like mutual respect. Did you know any of the other women from the show before you came on?
I knew Tinsley very vaguely through like mutual friends and family, not my sister.
So walking into that scene, because Newport was then your first time ever meeting these people when they're all sitting outside at that restaurant. What was that like walking into? Like, who was the most welcoming? Who could you tell that was like, not my person?
Sonia, Dorinda, and Elise were like definitely welcoming. Like they were nice. No one was like overly welcoming. Sonia, no, not Sonia. Did I say Sonia? No, Sonia was the least welcoming. She did not say hi to me because she was in a fight with my sister at the time, or something happened. I walked into like a complete shit show, and I was not aware of this, like of what had happened really the night before. I was just like, oh my God, like this is my first trip away from the baby. I thought like all of these women are older, they have kids. I was gonna get like maternal advice. We were gonna have fun. But that's my own problem, because I'm kind of like I thought we'd be on like the beach, like howling, like doing like a female like dance, like bleeding dance.
With your drums.
Yeah, totally. It was just like that was not the vibes. And obviously Tinsley and me knew each other, and I love Tinsley.
We do too.
Do you think Tinsley will get a spinoff in Chicago? Because we're hoping she will.
I have no clue, but I hope so. Maybe like Housewives of Chicago, or maybe her fairy tale story. Who knows?
Yeah, she deserves it.
She deserves it. I don't even know if she'd want it, you know? Also, though, at the same time.
She's finally found that place of happiness that, you know, she's away.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it can be scary to, like, you know, film your wedding, make this so public, something that, you know, she's been waiting for her whole life and deserves, and it was such a heavy theme on this, like, Dorinda being so obsessed with, like, her personal life and stuff.
We are so confused by that.
Which I have to ask, do you have any kind of insight, or why does Dorinda have such a hard-on for her? I don't get it.
I don't know. I think it's probably just easy because Tinsley's just like a sweetheart, and like, you know, I think Dorinda's like hardcore and like a straight shooter, and like Tinsley has like is like, hey, I don't really know you, so I'm not going to tell you like everything, you know? And it's just like, she has boundaries where maybe Dorinda doesn't.
Yeah, but I feel like Dorinda came in this season guns blazing. Like, she was really like trying to almost fill the void of like a Bethany present, where
possibly
for some reason she was just out.
Yeah, and I think she just did it like the wrong way of like she was just seemed from like the episodes. I wasn't obviously filming all the time, but she just really seemed so fixed on this one thing and so angry and obsessed, where it's like,
dude, pump the brakes.
I think you need to also maybe look what's going on with you and what maybe is like triggering these feelings inside of you, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen her spiral for like a while now, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, it's just super, you know, like Michelle said with the Bethany thing, you know, you have to kind of like make your mark. And it's almost like all of these women are sort of pining for that spot of, you know, HOH or, you know, HBIC or something.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and it's like,
and then they get Leah and it's too late.
And Leah,
she walks in.
Yeah, and Leah could be that for them. But the thing is, it's anytime they get someone who like doesn't need them or doesn't require them, that I think they feel not like threatened, but sort of like creeped out, because it's that whole, I don't even know. It's just like people who need other people that are as toxic as they are. And then these other, you know, characters come in and they're like, listen, I'm good with hanging out with you, but I don't need to hang out with you.
And I don't
it's just like
approval, which them was like
confusing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean you don't like?
Yeah, I mean, I think these women are like from a different like generation, and they have like all of these weird societal like pressure or like these rules that make no sense, that are totally like hypocrisy, and like actually connecting on a human to human level they just don't get. So like they could say like, oh my god, like Leah's behavior with the tiki torches, like that's crazy, but like, you know what's crazier is to like get drunk and just be mean to someone who's trying not to talk to you.
And be insanely vicious about it, like no apologies, just like, oh, I drank, you know, I got drunk. Okay, but why isn't it chill for Leah to get drunk and like not be mean and cruel and vicious, but like throw a tiki torch? Like
totally. And also like bringing up someone's like having a baby and the pressure of that is such a line as a female to me. Like, this is obviously a woman who's wanted to have babies, and it's obviously like as you get older becomes a really personal thing. I have many friends who are older than me who have gone through this, and it's so scary for a woman who really wants a child. And so to just batter it into her about like motherhood, you don't get it, like, you know what, sometimes being a mom doesn't make you maternal, and sometimes you can be someone without a child and be very maternal.
We have firsthand experience with that. So
yeah, I mean, me and my husband have been trying for like 5 years now to have a baby, and it just hasn't worked. And it's like every day, like you see your friends having a kid and you're so happy for them, but it's like it's still like it stabs every time. But I'm a nanny in my work, so like I do have these kids at work that like I've been with them for 5 years, and like I could not love them more, and I'm so thankful and grateful for them, but like I still yearn for that motherhood. So hearing them talk to Tinsley that way was like ugly.
I go to Taylor for mom advice, like
100%,
you know. Like,
and honestly, like it makes me like I can like cry like thinking about that, like, you know, like just you being honest and saying that, and like imagine like being on national television and like this woman is coming at you about your reproductive system. I'm sorry, but like I do think that's the line. And I think, you know, it was strange that everyone else is just like not being like, hey, don't talk about no, that is a line as a female, don't. You know, that's hard enough to deal with personally.
That they all were like, okay, well, this is a storyline. She's going to keep this going. This is drama. We're going to entertain it. But in all actuality, you're not really supporting women. You're fueling the fire of people's struggles.
And sometimes when you're going through the struggle yourself, it's impossible to stick up for yourself in the moment. When somebody says something like that, your mind goes blank and you're just like, where am I? What world? So you need those people to step in.
Yeah, and especially like when that is so personal, and like I'm sure like that has haunted her and her mom giving her pressure. I love Dale, but like that's just like a no-go. Like there's so many other things you could like figure out to fight about, but like she already is like, that's probably why sometimes maybe she froze or didn't stick up for herself, because she's already internally feeling that this woman's yelling at her. For me, it
would be a line of, say it again, because I am being silent, because I am not punching you in the throat with a knife. Like, it would be
totally. Yeah, no.
Also,
I mean, she has a lot of patience. I mean, she has a lot of patience.
On that note, if you could get rid of anybody from the RHONY cast, who would it be?
Girl, just say it.
Well, honestly, there's like probably like a few. But,
yeah.
I think like Ramona is just. I think beyond like Ramona being just quite annoying. So yeah, that I'm being like polite. I think like her time has come, and I think she's just. It's like actually not healthy for people to watch her. Yeah, and I think she has no understanding, and I think she's like probably a pathological liar, and she kind of hits below the belt, and she never takes any like, she's like, what? I didn't do anything. What? And like, I can't take that. You can do wrong shit all the time, but like just
own it.
But I think she really doesn't have the awareness to own it. I actually think that. So.
So you're not upset that you weren't one of her 50 closest friends at her birthday party?
I was really upset. No, that sounded terrible. Oh my God. I mean, first of all, if I only saw clips of that because I hadn't caught up, but like, if people were like, that would be like, oh my God, my birthday party's the best. Like, I would be so happy if people were like having like a blast, and she was just like a witch. I'm sorry, but like, if that's not your etiquette, like, no one wants to see you having a boring dinner.
If your sister were at my party and she started doing that, I would be like, yes, at least someone is doing something. Like, I would be stoked. But
I mean, I don't know where I didn't watch it. I don't know where the line was crossed. I mean, I saw Sonia breaking the glass. I think they're also like weirdly like prude, the women, even though they're like so dick thirsty. So like, I'm a nudist, and like being naked for me is like not a sexual thing. Like, I don't sexualize everything. And also like the last thing like I want to do is like, when I go out with my girls is, well, first of all, obviously I have a fiance, but even when I didn't, is can look for dudes. And they're like 70. I mean, I don't even know. Are they taking Viagra? I mean, I've never seen.
Quite possible.
I have never seen the thirst for dick like that ever.
I was especially like disgusted that when we first came out and your sister was sitting there talking about her tattoos with Sonia, I texted these girls and I was like, I can't even get through this fucking scene because I'm gonna lose it. Okay, about the tattoo thing. I was like, that just transcends, okay? You can have a personal opinion, but to say that people with tattoos, especially to the person you're talking to about tattoos, saying, first of all, that they should defecate on themselves. What, Sonia? But it's...
I mean, yeah, I think the insanity is like, I guess, like entertaining. That like, also it's funny because like, I don't have any tattoos, and I'm like the minority now. Like, tattoos are such a common thing that it kind of like just shows their age, and like also like their little bubble that they stay in, I guess. Like, you never hung out with someone with a tattoo. Like, okay, where do you live? I thought you lived in New York City. What the
I mean, they've definitely slept with men with tattoos.
They've had to. I mean, and believe me, if they could, they would.
Right? Yeah. There's no way she'd have some hot ass guy looking super, super good, and you know, he'd be like about to, and she'd be like, "Is that a tattoo? I'm done. I'm done."
Check it out.
Ever. Yeah, I mean, my sister handled that really well, and think, you know, it was like in the beginning, and with, you know, she stood up for herself. But I'm sure if it happened again, now that she's more comfortable, it probably wouldn't have ended like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what we said. That I feel like she came in, she was very reserved. She was very she held class.
Yeah.
And she, like, you know what, it sucks that you feel that way. Blah 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 blah. But when she showed her real true colors on like one of the first couple weekends when they were at Ramona's house in the Hamptons, I fell in love with Leah. Like,
totally.
Leah is my spirit animal. Like, literally, I would be in the backyard throwing freaking tiki torches.
Oh my God, 100%. I mean, to me, that's actually like normal fun behavior.
Yes.
Like, not just sitting. Like, I honestly, it's like, even like at the like Rhode Island trip, like that was so funny. Like, she was ripping flowers. She wasn't like flushing like animals down the toilet. Like, she wasn't killing animals. I mean, the way they twerking and like having fun. And the more people say to calm down for McSweeney, the more we rev up. You want me to calm down? Oh, I'll show you what we can do, you know? So like, I mean, also they were acting like they were in Kensington Palace. Like, breathe, it's Newport.
It was so cool too, because she got Tinsley out of this bubble that we've seen Tinsley in, where Tinsley, we've never seen her boobs. And after a couple of seasons, like, I would expect to see your boobs, you know, you're a housewife, like, but she like finally got in the pool and like had some actual real fun. And we got our new Trace Amigas, and we were like, thank God someone came in here to make you feel like you can have fun.
You can release.
Completely.
Instead of judging, which is what Ramona that was like, you look older than I do. Who said that last season, right? Didn't she say that? She's like, oh, you look older than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. That's not something your friend says to you.
Yeah.
No. And honestly, Tinsley is like one of like so not judgmental. And I think that's probably why she can handle them, because she's like, that's their own shit. Like, I don't know. I like thank God for Tinsley on the Rhode Island trip. Otherwise, and my sister too, but my sister also was going through a lot of other stuff that like I had something otherwise I like, it was just like I was being bullied at like a senior citizen home, it felt like and I'm not gonna like fight, like they're older. I think maybe they're almost as old as my mom, who's like, you know, and so like I can never fight with like one of my mom's friends. I just be like, okay, my bad. Like, hey. You know, like I just have respect for my elders, even though they weren't acting like that. You know, like they were acting so mean.
Does your mom watch the show?
Sometimes.
Did she see this last clip or hear about it with you guys' conversation at the spa? How's that been?
No, actually, I told her beforehand. I just wanted to let her know, like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I, like, repeated a conversation. I usually don't actually do that, but whatever I did, and I'm sorry. Don't be upset with me. And she was like, she called me back. She's like, Sarah, I do not care. Like, don't have anxiety over this. Like, because I felt bad because, like, my mom's gotten, like, a bad, like, not a bad, but, like, people kind of like, oh, your mom is so judgmental. And it's like, my mom's also dealt with us for a long time.
Yeah.
And my mom is like, she's a social worker. And my mom, like her whole life has like, she just gives to a point that's probably too much. And so like, people haven't seen that side of her yet, but like my mom has a strong opinion, just like I do, just like my sister. And so that's why it's normal. You vent about your mom, but I did like let her know because I was like anxious about it because I was really just going in like, I'm just gonna tell you everything mom said about
you. I was the worst kid for like my entire life, and so I hope that this is fair to say, but your mom is probably an expert in damage control. So when it comes to whatever y'all do, she's probably like, listen, you're going to get it straight up. There's no fluff. I have no more time for the fluff. you guys are insane and we're just going to handle the situation. So
Exactly.
which is what my mom does.
And in any actual moment of real like crisis, who do we call? My mom. And who is the least judgmental, the most helpful, and will drop everything to come be with us? My mom. So we're also little like shitheads, talking a lot of shit, and we don't like her opinions, probably because they hit a nerve, because some of them are true.
Right.
But at the end of the day, my mom comes through. So
Right.
I put that out there.
I love your mom when she was like, when Leah was saying, she was like, I don't know, I was doing cartwheels, I was doing all this stuff. She goes, where were you, in the gym?
I know. I feel like that was one of the funniest moments on the show, because it was like so naive. My sister's like, no, at dinner. She's just like,
At dinner.
What? And I'm like, oh my God, if my mom knew what we've done before, like, poor thing.
But that to me, I was like, oh my God, she's like my mom. Like, where were you? What were you doing?
Why were they upset? Well, you were doing cartwheels at a gym? That's fine to me. Like, yeah.
Well, you were in a gym, of course.
Yeah, it was like, that was actually one of my favorite moments.
So now I have to ask you a question. When you came into the dinner in Rhode Island, and when you actually heard back on the episode what Sonia had said about you, is that like she felt like you were evil and your blue eyes were like staring through her soul?
Yeah, weird demon, she called me.
Yes.
I think one called me a demon and one called me weird. And I was like, oh my God, that's like a compliment to me. Thank you. Like,
do you address
I am weird.
Did you actually address it with either one of them or no?
I actually didn't realize they said that. I didn't hear that until after, because I was like, I think me and Tinsley were like, we bounced first. We were like, I was like, Tinsley, let's go out of here. Like, these women are like, once I saw like Ramona, like them taking the gourds and like choking themselves, I just couldn't. I was like, okay, you guys are just so annoying. Like, and honestly, like Luann was acting all nice, but then like when she was burning the thing of like bad energy, it was just like, first of all, you're burning, that's not gonna clear out any energy. You're gonna start a fire in a restaurant.
It's a freaking corn on the cob. It's a Halloween decoration.
They were taking all the decorations and really using them quite creative.
Well, Michael said that Sonia actually like threw one of them and it like almost hit like another like table.
I'm sure. I mean, I honestly was, by that point, I realized that they were trying not to talk to me. And I'm kind of someone who's like, all right, like, so I kind of just, my sister was in her own mode of like maybe fury. Tinsley was like, my friend's restaurant. And I was like, okay, this is still my 124 hours away from my baby. So like, I'm just like going to have my own, like, I talked to like an old woman who was like sitting next to us, who was chill. Like, I was just like, you guys are, I was actually shocked though. I was shocked at their behavior.
I have a question. Do you happen to know the name of Luann's friend?
Which one?
The man that was sitting next to Luann. There's a guy in a blazer, right, girls? It's like a sport coat.
Yeah.
And he was wearing like a blue sport coat, like a navy sport coat, and then he took it off at one point. But he was sitting next to Luann at some point.
At the restaurant?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really actually remember seeing that. It could have been the owner of the restaurant.
Oh.
I don't know. It wasn't one of the guys at the bar, I don't think.
No. They've been heavily investigated, and apparently one of them is not such a great guy. So it's been...
Yeah, well, I knew that like from the minute I had a conversation with him, and like Leah wanted me to go over, and everyone was like, oh my God, the McSweeney sisters, like they're so hot, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, first of all, I didn't go over there to flirt with him. I went over there to like make fun of him. And obviously he calls women like she devils. So imagine me saying like, I don't think your fiance is going to like this. He was just like livid. Like imagine a woman talking back to him, telling him a rule.
Ugh.
You know, there actually came a point where like I went back up to him because then he came around again. And in my head, I'm like, I can't believe he's even wanting to be filmed like this.
Yeah.
I went back and it really got so tense, and the guy looked like he was about to punch me in the fucking face.
Oh my
Because
God.
The guy who was like a senator or something?
Yeah, so I called his number right away, but the reason why he said, well, that's your fucking problem, wasn't actually just that. I was like, you know what? You're most likely a date rapist. Like, I went up to him and said that, and I was like, I know you look like a date rapist, the way you treat women. I'm sure you've raped women, like, which was a little crazy. He had such a visceral reaction to me.
Yeah.
Because he probably has, and like there's been so much information. I got so many DMs about like, oh my God, this guy is nuts. And also his fiance is even crazier if you look into her. And his whole article, I thought he had daughters, but he didn't. He was just saying that when he does have daughters, he wants them to understand they want to cook and clean, and like that's their role. So like, it just goes to show that's what these women, like, they're like prancing around, like that grossed me out right away. I was like, oh my God, dude, this is trash.
Like, this is who you want to attract. It's crazy.
Like, do you think when they look in the mirror, they see themselves in like their 30s or their 20s or 17, 18, 19? Because like the way that they behave a lot of the time, I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, I remember when I did that. Or like,
yeah, like
when I'm 32.
Yeah. Look, I'm 31 and like, I've never had like, I don't have girlfriends like who are like, I have hot ass girlfriends, and like when we go out, like we're so like having fun with each other that like, I don't know, like I totally can sometimes feel like I'm 17 still to this day, but like I don't know, like if they think like, I don't know how they can be like, I just, we have a certain etiquette, and if Leah can't, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, like they're just because they're not like stripping down naked and jumping into a pool, they're acting like trash. Sonia and Ramona that night acted like freaking trash, and I just love that they're like, they bring in class so much. And like, none of these women are like, very demure in any way.
And Luann is no longer a countess. I said it. So
yeah. So
just saying.
And she was like the most open when I first sat down to lunch. But I also think that she just is like, okay, I have to deal with Sarah, and I'll be nice to her because not gonna, like blah blah blah. But
I think that's how she is with all of the women. We get very little from her. She gets very little involved in anything and typically walks away and goes, whoop, nothing to see here. And so when your sister's dancing at Ramona's party, I was going to bring this up to the girls in chat, but I forgot, so I'll say it now. But she is the one that they are dancing on. She and Sonia, your sister and Sonia, are dancing on Luann. And Luann sort of gets up and looks around like, whoa, this is crazy. Okay, beverage. And it's like,
yeah. I think she's just like, I really think she's like literally like delusional. Like, and also like my fiance Russ, like he is a performance artist. He has an alter ego. He worked he's done a lot like before, like in the 90s, and like worked at cabarets like the last 10 years just for fun. He's been MC at the Box in Dubai and London, and he comes from like an actual cabaret performance background. And so I just think it's like so funny how serious she takes her cabaret and her like singing, and like it's really just like a trivial thing about like the Housewives, but like it's like, bitch, just like relax. She's really honestly, if I had the confidence or like the oblivion, or I don't even want the delusion of self-grandeur that she had, I might be the president right now. Like, that's how I feel, like, yeah. I mean, I guess between Ramona and Luann I would put on the chopping block.
Us too.
Yeah. I think I would love more Sonia. I mean, Sonia, I can handle drunk. I can handle her shoveling food into her mouth.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Because she's innocent. Because listen, she may try and be shady, but even when she tries to be shady, like with your sister in the dress, the non-dress,
she can make humor out of it.
But it just fails. And it's more funny on the backside. But
totally.
Also, like, imagine like Ramona and like Elise actually have history.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Like, they've been friends for like before the show and stuff, and like, can you imagine, like, she brought on Elise, and then just like mid-season, since she couldn't control, was like I'm cutting her off for literally no reason, like just because like she didn't, you know, all of a sudden it was like they're like all so threatened. Like, I honestly think that they should bring them to like a Gestalt like therapy, all of them together, to like act like they're all like, I think, playing out like childhood like trauma. Like, I don't know, like they act like children, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, we actually interviewed Elise. I actually said that to her. I said, you know, I feel like Ramona feels threatened by anybody who's younger, prettier, or who comes into the cast that she feels
or richer, like, which Elise is probably.
Oh, right. 1,000,000%.
You know,
Elise's art alone could.
That's what I mean. Like, Elise is actually like a proper like has wealth, and
she's earned it working her business on Wall Street. Like, she deserves everything. And I love, like, I'm a huge Elise fan. I love her, and I think she's real and honest, and I think that's why Leah and Elise have kind of connected, because they're both the most real that New York has ever seen, ever.
Totally. And I think Elise finally made her own, she didn't listen to the other women, and like after the show, like me and Elise chat, and like we like show each other love on Instagram, and like, you know, like, and she's even like admitted like that was my bad, like I shouldn't have brought up your daughter with that, I shouldn't, you know, like she at least can like see her, and then, you know, and she's also
own it.
I mean, own it. I told her, I was like, dude, they better have you back on. You're like, first of all, like, what, the hottest, like, besides obviously my sister, but like, you're the hottest, you're like richest, you make sense, you don't have wet brain, like,
yeah. And she does a spot on impression.
Yeah, totally, you know. And I think, the women are probably, I think Sonia is very threatened at this point. And not Sonia, Ramona. I'm sorry, I'm getting.
I was gonna say, I think if Sonia gets away from Ramona, I think that would, you know, Sonia would really shine. And I think they need to give Elise an apple already. Hello.
Yeah, and also I think, you know, and Sonia, I love. Well, and you know what? It's unfortunate because I'm sure if I didn't meet her as Leah's sister, there would have been more friendly like bonds. But because I don't think they were like, I was like, all of a sudden, like, why are they inviting someone on an all cast trip? Like, Leah's sister, like, this is already a new girl. Like, this is, you know, this doesn't usually happen, blah, blah, blah. Sonia really like gave me the cold shoulder. But I'd also like to see more of Sonia. Like, I love her drunk. Like, I adore her drunk. But like, I also have never seen her have like an actual like human moment. So like, even when she gets into a fight drunk, if like you acknowledge it the next day, like it's just like, it's fine. And like, but I guess it's really like waspy, like pretty like normal wasp behavior. But I don't know. I would like to see her a little bit more vulnerable, like not
open
just
up
while wasted.
Yeah.
You know,
because we all know that
a healthy vulnerable.
The trauma's there. I mean, I think almost the last time we saw her vulnerable like that was when she was wearing the slippers with her family, the Morgan last name, the crest on it, and she was like, "This is my family," and then somebody said like, "Well, it's not really your family anymore." And I think like that's the last time we saw it. So I feel like Sonia might be the kind of person that's like, she shared herself, she was trying to be vulnerable, she gets shut down, so now she's shutting off and drinking, and that's what you're seeing.
Possibly, totally. And I only vaguely remember that, so
Yeah.
I can't speak on it. But yeah, totally. She might have like was having a moment. But yeah, I don't even know. That whole situation is weird to me with like the obsession of like your
Morgan
husband who divorced you.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you. I'll be burning down like
listen
JP Morgan.
Right.
If I
Burn
got-
down the banks.
if I got a divorce
freaking crest. But that's
if I got a divorce, I'd be burning down trees. I'd be like, F all the branches on all the
Well,
trees.
especially I don't get the sense that they co-parent or they're in touch at all. I don't even know if he's alive. I have no clue. So it's really like a strange. I'm just happy that she's not in that decrepit townhouse. That was so depressing to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was
To
so
see
Grey
her-
Garden.
Oh my god. Yeah.
yes.
Grey Gardens.
Oh.
Oh my god, Taylor.
Gardening.
Yeah, you've seen. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
It was like you're living with the pet rat or the mouse. Pardon me, the mouse that died, but you're keeping it there because now it's decorative. Like,
Totally. I like that. I like where your mind just went.
Taxidermy that for me.
we're
will ya?
really
Totally.
gross. Taylor and I are
No, me
obsessed
too.
with crime and serial killers. So
Me too.
my mind immediately
Like
goes-
hardcore.
Me too. I go to sleep to Dateline. That's how I
Yes.
just like yes.
Did
I
you
love
know-
serial killer shit.
Did
Oh
you
my
know
god.
that
HBO gone into the dark, whatever. Have you watched that
Yeah.
yet?
Not
no,
yet.
I have not yet.
Oh
But,
my god. It's
but
crazy.
Dateline NBC is now a podcast available on
No,
Spotify.
that's
So-
what I do.
Yeah. So, and also Crime Junkie, which, all right, whatever. My favorite murder, I can't listen to that anymore. Because
I
they're just,
only
like,
have
way
gotten
off
into
now.
Dateline because it doesn't overstimulate me. So when I'm going to bed, if I'm watching a show, I'll stay up. But if I just start listening to Dateline, it's like that guy's voice is soothing. Like
Yes.
it's
you
always
really
like
sleep.
yeah,
Okay, so
I do.
Yeah.
So Forensic Files. When my husband first met me, he thought I was going to kill him because I was obsessed with watching Forensic Files, but I didn't have cable for the longest time, so I just always watched the only thing that was on air. So he then deployed. He's deployed twice. He deployed once, and he said that he started to have to watch it on his phone so that he could fall asleep. So now he's
Sweet.
like, Forensic Files is the shit. Okay, babe, we can watch this to go to bed.
He's like, you got to shut that off once you fall asleep. I'm like, how do I shut it off once I fall asleep? Now I do Dateline. I have my headphones in. But that's why you have to watch this HBO show. Because, I mean, I won't go into it, but, you know, it's Pat, what's his name? Oslin. He's a comedian. His wife was like.
Oz, but Patrick, nope. Oz Cosman.
Nope.
Oswald. Patton Oswald.
Patton Oswalt.
And, you know, his wife, like, they did this HBO show. And
And
there's
she
one
was
more
writing the book, right?
And I didn't know, like, the first episode, I was like, I gotta find this woman and I'm gonna tell her about all these things that I figured out with Liz, because like I did find out some good info. People are like, there's multiple serial killers because one's like a dismember, but like also this guy, the whole Michelle, where it started with Joe Brewer and her running through the woods, that had nothing to do with the bodies they ended up finding. So there's either two serial killers and they're working together, and one's doing the kill and one's doing one's dismembering and one's not. But the thing is, if you look at the whole history of how the investigation went, it was so wrong. It took years for a proper investigation because the district attorney and the head of the police, eventually they wouldn't let the FBI involved. And eventually they were both indicted on prostitution,
Obstructing justice.
Thank you. Because I think it was the head of the police force, some dude stole a duffel bag out of his car and it had all these sex toys and porn. And so he beat the guy up and then tried getting other cops to cover for him, including his like godfather, who was the district attorney. And so a proper investigation never happened until so many years later. And a giant part of it, which is a social issue, is that it was because they were sex workers. But who, you know, and it's like, as if like, oh, that doesn't matter. Like, let's make sex working legal because they're people. They have families. Like, all of these families. Sorry,
have you heard about the women that went missing from Chillicothe, Ohio? So I live in Ohio. You should look it up if you're like, you'd be good at discovering who did this. But all these like workers have gone, these sex workers, women have gone missing, and like their bodies have been starting to like being found.
When did they start missing, and when have they been starting to be found? I'm just curious.
This was probably like 2 years ago now at this point, 2 or 3 years ago.
Good, because that at least, I mean, the list could go from so far. It's like once you go down that rabbit hole, like
you realize that that woman was missing, and it's probably connected to this one 10 years later.
To like from 92. Like, and then there is a guy that was I mean, whatever. I could go. It'll be like 3 hours.
So I was talking to Taylor one day. I was talking to Taylor about maybe we could do like a little crime discussion.
I would love to do it.
So this would be perfect.
Crime podcast. Like, on my people have been hitting me up because on my Instagram I have like Cecilia Marie's mom and then private investigator. But like, people are like, hey, how did you get into that business? And like, it's just a joke because if people know me, they just know that I'm being like a detective with everything. But I was like trying to figure out, you don't really need credentials to become a private investigator.
No, you just have to be good.
We just need to find a retired detective or something who wants to work with us, or a really good tech guy. You know what I mean? Who can like get into the
first people.
My husband.
I just need a team. And dude, and then it's like, because you know, police, there's so much shit they have to do. They don't have time to. All of you have to watch Gone in the Dark on HBO. I think there's one more episode. It's really heartbreaking, but you have to watch it because it's also about people like us who were like citizen detectives.
Yeah,
citizen detectives
who are not stopping. Yeah, because
that's I done Martini Mike in like 0.5 seconds. Okay.
Well, that's why when you said that, I'm like, oh, I like that you're able to do that. So like, there's this one guy that
said that if I ever go missing, I need these two to find me.
On it.
Thank you.
Totally.
They will, and it works on Facebook, whatever it needs to be, they will find me.
It works super well because Taylor and I oftentimes, and we're keeping up on, have you heard of Ethan Ramble? Okay.
Rindlin. Ethan Rindlin.
Oh, whatever. He's got a last name. Anyway, so we will shoot you over the info about him, and your mind is going to be like, what the When Taylor and I and Michelle first met, one of the first things that we started talking about was this Ethan guy who went missing. Well, there are all of these really fucking weird circumstances around his disappearance and then finding his body. And his girlfriend is on the loose, and we still keep up with her. And Taylor will send me screenshots of her Instagram, and then I'll look at it, and then we're just kind of like, you know,
that's not,
we're still on it. So
I'm still involved. I'm highly involved in that because that girl was involved in his murder, and
yes, she was.
Needs to be brought to justice.
Send it to me. So I'm like you, and also like we can
literally we have to.
Dude, this is happening.
We have to do this.
I'm not even
like
kidding.
I'm obsessed. Like, you don't understand, and it's like I need to talk to people like you, because when I start explaining this to other people, they're like,
they look at you like you're crazy, but like you're not.
No, we will find out what grade you got in, 5th grade elementary school, and we'll be like, you got all C's.
Yeah,
all 5th grade.
See, that's
they're good. Like, what did you know that?
You have to send me the Eric guy, because now I want to follow.
It's really involved. She has
it's a big rabbit hole, but we'll send you the info.
I want to go down it.
Yeah,
I think Taylor, there's a really because Reddit was the only place.
Is that what you're gonna say?
YouTube or Reddit. There's a Reddit also that when it first happened, that was the only place that I could get clear information about what was happening, because they hadn't found his body yet. So now at this point, he was a missing person. Well, then they were like, let's find Ethan. And then when they found him, that Reddit continued. And I was like, Yeah. So Reddit has a lot.
And I think his aunt was like pretending
Yes,
to be
yes. I remember that.
Yeah. His aunt was pretending to be somebody saying that this guy did not go missing, and like, right?
And we were in those groups. Do you remember, Taylor? We were in those groups. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
dude.
I feel like I forgot all of this.
I know.
I'm like,
It's
I'm
wild.
like obsessed with you guys.
Taylor and I were in these groups, and we were tagging each other.
You were in the sleuth community or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We were in these groups. It was Red Shoe Society.
Yeah, the Red Shoe Society.
I fucking hate that sometimes people go on and write like such dumb information where you're like, why are you clogging up the feed?
Right. Like we're legit trying to figure this out.
But maybe also, I'd love to know who's clogging up the feed with stupid information.
Because why? Because why are you doing
Because
this?
they're trying to throw you off the track.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
We need someone who can track IP addresses and shit.
We have one.
Yeah.
And then we become like a team of all-girl private investigators, and people are like,
if Shell could do our makeup, we could look super pretty as we go out to do things too.
do it. Totally. we got this. Oh my God, I love it.
Yes.
Because everything would be a photo op. It would be me next to a dead body.
I'll be like
All right,
posing.
Let's get back to the show because I'm
Okay,
sure my
sorry.
kid's going to freak out at some point. Well, we do know that Ramona pooped her pants.
It was a cameo with a lead and a
Stop
over
with
the
the
edge.
poop.
That's
Oh
so,
yeah,
I
with
love
Cam,
it.
and your sister popped in and was like, she shits the bed during sex. Which, like, no doubt she does.
Oh,
definitely
100%.
That's why
100%.
when my sister threw the ravioli at her face and she didn't even know anything was thrown at her. You can tell. Like that's what's going on in her underwear. You understand?
She literally had no response to it. She had no fucking response. She was sitting there with shit all over her.
She was just like thinking black. Like it looked like poop.
Yeah.
It's
She's
so
such
gross.
a trip. She's so filthy.
She's
If I were
disgusting.
a friend,
Yeah.
if I were
Also,
a
like-
friend, I would just be like, gross.
Also, like her all lives matter, and then she's like, "I'm educating myself." It's like, bitch, you should be as someone. You're a public figure, so you know what? It's not about educating yourself. It's we know exactly how you feel, and now you want to do a take back because there's actually people have a line all of a sudden, and you crossed it. So now you're gonna educate yourself. You should educate yourself. You have a social platform. Come on.
Educate yourself before you post such. And if you
And
do
she knew what
truly
she was
believe that,
saying.
Oh, 1,000% she knew.
Someone from said, "Yo, you're not on the right side." Like to a point where we won't be able to have you back. That's my feeling. She would just go for it.
Well, yeah, she only does things according to Bravo. Like at the end of the episode, you'll see if you catch up on this latest episode. There's a point where she's like, "I'll quit the show. I'll quit the show."
I'm like,
and
please.
it's such acting, though. It's such acting because you can
Please.
totally tell. Yeah, it's just her totally just acting for it and just pretending like she has some sort of leverage. It's like, Ramona, at the end of the day, they pay for your shitty whatever that dress was.
No, I'm kidding. If you actually notice when like the cameras are only filming her while she gets ready for someone to come over, she is like she's like, oh, like she's in like an improv class. You know, like she's like so used to it. She's like talking to the flowers. She's like, oh, I'll get this. Like, whoa. Like, I'm just like, oh my God. Like, you're so, like, I don't even find her funny anymore.
No.
Yeah. No, and that's what a lot of the people are saying is that they started out funny and fun, but it's just not fun anymore.
Well, so like they say that like you have demon behind your eyes or whatever, but she's just like dead behind her eyes. She's like, there's like, nothing. It's floating around.
Nothing. She has demon that comes out of her mouth. Everything
I know.
That comes out of her mouth is toxic.
Yeah, and when she actually brought up like her childhood trauma to guilt my sister,
right?
About that was like some really dark shit. You know what? Like Ramona, you're a big girl. You bet. Like my sister behaving like that triggered your childhood trauma. Don't, that's so, like, people have real trauma and they don't get triggered and then just drink a bunch of, she was in a blackout, I'm sure, you know, just because some people black out and don't, you know what I mean? Like, she was the same stuff. She couldn't remember.
It was exactly, gross. But she's not going to admit that.
No. Right, of course. But I'm just saying, like, your childhood trauma, you're going to go there.
It's all she had. It's the only place she had to go.
Yeah.
It's not right, but she just says things to, like, dig herself out. Hopefully.
She's always a victim. Always the victim.
Yeah, it's boring.
All right, so we got to figure out how to close it out real quick because we could talk about death and
I know, murder,
serial murderers for.
Well, okay, so I have a way to close it out. When we were changing our cable package in our house, and my husband's on the phone with the people, and the lady's like, you know, what channels do you watch? And my husband says, I watch ESPN, and I'm listening out of the bedroom. I'm hearing him talk. My husband goes, I watch ESPN, and my wife watches Bravo and Murder.
That's amazing. Me too. And I want to say one thing. I think one thing that the housewives really need to get down with is communication. And I think right now in the world, we are lacking communication, our communication skills on such bigger levels. And, you know, everything starts with like our TV and media. So they can still fight, but I think there should be way more communication and communication skills and being in the gray area. And I honestly think that they have to get on that path for it to even, for Bravo to really stay afloat in this world.
You've been saying for a while that it's happening.
And it's interesting. It's okay to have it's like, we want to see like reality show, like show the more human sides. You can be stuff, you can apologize, you can talk it out. We don't need people pretending that little puppy this, like, we like that. That's why people love Leah so much, because she is human and we're all human. And I think that's how, you know, like Bravo needs to get on that boat of like showing the human connection in the negative and the positive, because it's both in the world. So
being more real.
Signed up for a reality show, you show who you are in real life, and
exactly
the good and the bad. Sorry,
like all of us, you know.
Yeah,
great.
So that's all I have.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much for being here. We love you so much. I love you guys too. I'm like ready. I'm like, do you need?
We'll text you right after.
I'll work for you guys. I'm like, this is amazing. All right, well, actually, seriously, text me that guy's name, because I have a few hours before Russ comes home with the baby, and I want to go down a rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah. It's a good one.
You guys are amazing. I had so much fun. This was so pleasant. Text me right away. I need all your numbers.
We will.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my God, I love her.
You're the brightest thing.